And we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all, wherever in the world you're coming from. And welcome to this Hult London Virtual Open House. We are coming to you today live from a very sunny London, where the pubs are open and the atmosphere is electric because the UEFA Euro football tournament is underway. So everyone is extremely excited over here. My name is Calle. I am the MC of this event today. I have been with Hult for the past 11 years, living in Hong Kong and Switzerland, and now in London. And I'm coming to you with an amazing group of people. First of all, we have our Dean Ronan, a very old friend of mine, who will be talking to you today about who we are, what makes Hult different, and why we are an exciting option in terms of higher education. Then, after you've heard from Dean Ronan, you will hear from me. I will talk a little bit about the admissions process. That will be very boring. I will keep it very short, I promise, but we have to get through some of the admin as well. But after that, we're handing over to the real stars of this event. We're going to hear from Bianca Pavel, who is our head of career services and corporate relations. She will talk about you. She will talk to you about what gives our corporate relations, collaborations, and our career services such an edge. And after you've heard from Bianca, we will hand over to Olga. Olga is one of our students who is waving there on screen right now. She is one of our students in London, and she will talk to you a little bit about what student life is like in London, and about our clubs and societies, and how you can start your own club and society if you would want to. After that, it is time for our Q&A, which is with all our students. Today we have, who are the real stars of this event. It's really why we're doing this. It's good that you hear from us who work for Hult, but nothing is better than hearing from our actual students who are living the Hult experience right now. Today we have Olga, who I already mentioned. We have Chekou, we have George, and we have Cristina, who will do a Q&A at the end. Two very quick things before we get going. Down the bottom of this Zoom sort of panel infrastructure that you have on your screen, you see a chat box where you all said where you're from. Next to it, you see a Q&A box. Please use the Q&A box for questions. If you put your questions in the chat, they will get lost. We will miss them. Please use the Q&A chat box. The second thing is, if there is something you want to ask and you feel that we didn't answer it, or you didn't understand it, or it didn't come across properly, if you are working with an enrollment advisor in your own region, we have our own staff from Hong Kong to Shanghai to Mumbai to Dubai to know them all personally. If you have a question you didn't get answered, reach out to your enrollment advisor and we will sort it out later, I promise. With that being said, I should also mention we have a puppet master event queen extraordinaire. Her name is Fiorella. If you hear us talk about Fiorella and asking her to help us, she's the one running the show behind the scenes. So that is where she fits in. With that being said, I would love to hand over to my old friend, Dean Ronan, who will talk to you about why Hult. Please, Ronan, take it away.
Thank you very much, Calle. Good morning, good evening to all of you around the world. I have a few problems with my computer. So if the sound goes or if suddenly I freeze, please forgive me. I am presenting from home because we are coming out of the pandemic in London, but we are presenting from home today, and I just seem to have suddenly some domestic Wi-Fi issues, so I do apologize. But this is me. You can see on the screen, my name is Ronan Gruenbaum, and everything that we do is about preparing you for business. We like to be the most relevant business school in the world. And part of that is, how do you behave in business? What is professional behavior? So I don't want people to call me professor or sir or dean. You call me Ronan, but your professional behavior is the way you act, the way you perform. Now, what we're going to talk about in the program in the next 20 minutes or so is give you a very quick overview of why Hult is very different from every other business school. Now, if you want to study medicine, an excellent thing to do, Hult is not the place for you. If you want to become a civil engineer and build bridges physically across rivers and oceans, excellent thing to do. Wonderful. Again, Hult is not that kind of institution. We are about business, but we use business in just about every single way. I am the dean. I am the leader of the everything to do with the campus in London. Um, all of the academics, the professors, and yet almost everything I do on a day-to-day basis is business. I think about budgets, I think about communications and marketing strategies, I think about how we are going to have the long-term strategy of the program. I'm thinking about organizational behavior, motivation, how to get the best out of my team, and also how to influence and motivate all the 1,000 students we have in London. Everything that I do is business. So for most of you, even if you're not sure what you want to do when you leave university, business is probably going to prepare you better than most degrees. Now, if we move to the next slide, you'll see that we are triple accredited. Now, every school in the world is accredited. That's why you're allowed to give degrees. Now, we give a UK and a US degree. We are accredited in both the United Kingdom and the USA. But this triple accreditation is only achieved by the top 1% of business schools in the world. We're the first US school to achieve it as well, and we're very proud of it. The difference between this and rankings is that here it's not just some journalist or some newspaper deciding how to rate different universities, and they'll decide that having an enormous sports field is more important than the quality of the education in the classroom. We fundamentally believe that your learning experience, making sure that you have a practical, experiential learning time in the classroom and throughout your program at Hult is the most important thing, so that you learn by doing. And for these accreditations, we are inspected by the deans of other top business schools around the world. For the AACSB, the American Association of Schools and Colleges of Business, the AMBA, which is the Association of MBAs, and EQUIS, which is from the European Federation of Management Development. These three accreditation bodies at different times, every 2 years approximately, send a team of deans to our campuses, for example, in Boston, then to the London campus, maybe to our executive education campus in the British countryside. And they inspect everything. They talk to students, they talk to faculty, they examine hundreds and hundreds of pages of documents. And they are the ones who have said that we are the future of business education. Our competitors, the people who run some of the schools you might also be thinking about, they're the ones who believe that we are the future of business education. And for us, that is quite an important a badge to wear. But if we move on, you'll see that there are three fundamental areas of the program that I want to talk about. This is the world, the future, and you. So the world, you need to learn about the world, because everything you do in business is going to have an international context. Just think about the pandemic. It started in a relatively small city in Wuhan province in China, and it has extended to every continent, to every corner of the planet. And business is not dissimilar, because everything we do now, everything from the glasses we wear, the clothes we wear, the computers we are using now, everything incorporates hundreds or thousands of different components that have come from all corners of the planet. Maybe the elements were mined in one part, then they were refined in another, put together in a factory in another area, then shipped to somewhere else for selling. Business will affect everything. Even if you want to work in a family business in a small town, you will have suppliers and customers around the world. And it's so important to understand international business. And you can only do that by working with people in an international context. And we have 137 nationalities amongst our student body. No single nationality is more than 8.5% of the total students. So there's no dominant culture. And if you come to the London campus, you do not have 90 or 95% of British students and then 5% of people from around the world. Everybody at Hult is international. And that's the same of our faculty. Our faculty come from 45 different countries, as you can see, and all the education that you will receive at Hult explores all the different nuances of doing business, not just in the United Kingdom, the USA, and the European Union, but also how you do business in the Far East, in Latin America, in Sub-Saharan Africa. And learning how to work with students from all these other countries is what you're going to be doing from day one, working in teams, so that you will learn, when you finish, you will learn how to go into any job in any organization in any country in the world, and you'll be able to work with different cultures. You'll be able to play a leadership role or support the leader, and you'll be able to hit the ground running. That element, that international element, is fundamental to the Hult experience. It's not just working. If we go to the next slide, it's not just about working with students as well, because this beautiful campus, you can see behind me here, the building in our London undergraduate campus. We have 5 campuses that you can rotate to. We have 2 main campuses in London and Boston. So you could, for example, start in London, by the way, best city in the world. You can start in London and study here, for example, for the fall and spring. And then you can go and do the optional summer rotation. About 50% of our students go and do summer courses in San Francisco or Shanghai or Dubai. You could, for example, then go to this in the second year to Boston and study your second year in Boston, maybe fall in Boston, and then come back to London for the spring. But then in the summer, you're going to go to San Francisco again, and maybe then go back to Dubai. And then in your third year, you can start in Boston, then move back to London for the spring, and then go and do some courses at our Ashridge Executive Education campus in the countryside. So having that international experience where you're living in a different campus. There are other universities that have partnerships with other universities around the world, but it's complicated here. We are one university. We just have different campuses. So you take you just simply say, okay, I want to go to the other campus for that semester, and the courses that you study there are exactly the same. The only difference is the professor is different, but there's teaching exactly the same course, exactly the same program, and it all fits on your degree in exactly the same way. It is a seamless transition. I said that we want to talk about the world, future, and you. The future. Why is the future important? Well, not just because the future is yours. The future is important because you are going to have to see how it affects you over time. So, for example, when I was your age, I went a long time ago, I studied in the 1980s. I had 2 degrees in one. It was a combined degree, computer science or computational science and economics. So I was studying computers in the 1980s. I graduated in 1990, and something came along in 1990 that no one prepared us for. Now, I won't ask you to put your hands up because I can't see them, but I'll tell you, it was Tim Berners-Lee, or now Sir Tim Berners-Lee, invented the World Wide Web, the very vehicle with which we are now able to communicate through email and WhatsApp and Snapchat and Zoom and Google, and all of these things didn't exist in 1990, and Tim created the World Wide Web. I wasn't prepared for it. Nobody at my university was prepared for it. I saw, here's an amazing opportunity for me to build a career. And I started to work in digital technologies and social technologies from about the mid 90s onwards, after 15 years of doing it in industry, then moving into teaching and then into administration as the dean. We want to prepare you for the future. So, for example, you'll see here a list of courses that you will take whilst you're at Hult, thinking about artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, not just about cryptocurrencies, but how can blockchain fundamentally change the sense of ownership and legality in every kind of business context. All of these technologies exist now. So it's not a question of trying to make you an expert of this technology. It's trying to make you aware of the possibilities, but also how can you now keep one eye out for what technology will come in 5, 10, 15 years? And then will it kill your industry? As digital cameras have killed the industries of old film cameras, for example, as electric vehicles are slowly but surely going to kill off petrol engines and diesel engines. because this new technology is coming and it's getting better and better. Now, you can let it kill your industry, or you can see, here's an amazing opportunity that we can really start to work in. You need to be able to look at the future and identify these opportunities as they come along. If we go to the next slide now, you'll also see that we want you to learn about yourself. And the reason for this is that the number one predictor of success as a leader is self-awareness. Before you can lead others, you need to understand yourself. You need to understand how people perceive you and the gap between the way you perceive yourself and the way others perceive you. Do you know how to influence others? Do you know how to try and create collaboration when there is conflict? All of these things are fundamental. One thing that a leader is not is somebody who just shouts at people until they get the right thing done. That is not a leader. That's just a manager, and a very bad manager at that. But a leader is someone who can inspire others to come with them. You can only inspire others if you truly understand yourself. So we want to help you learn about yourself, but also, if we go to the next slide, to learn how to constantly improve. The growth mindset is all about how you can learn from mistakes. There's a very, very big difference between someone who says, I can't do that, and someone who says, I can't do that yet. But I'm going to work at it. I'm going to talk to my professors, maybe work with the tutors that Hult provides for free because they're so very, very kind. I'm going to give up my Saturday of going out with friends. I'm going to sit at home to do all of this. This is one of the fundamental things that will help you grow throughout your life. Hult has a growth mindset. We are always asking our students for feedback so that we can constantly get better. We can always look at how can we improve our campus, our operations, the quality of the teaching in the classroom, and fundamentally the program as a whole. And we do that by asking for feedback from our students, seeing what we do amazingly well, because we do an awful lot amazing well, but also recognizing that there's always areas for improvement, and we want to improve and we want to get better. So the world, the future, and you. Now, if you go to the next slide, you'll see how the program is structured. Essentially, we have a flexible degree. If you come from a year 12 environment where your high school finishes at year 12, for example, in the US system, then you will come to Hult and you would do 4 years and you'll do 30 US credits per year, 30 in the first year, 30 in the second year, 30 in the third year, and 30 in the fourth year. Of course, what you can do is take optional summer courses up to 12 credits in the summer 1 and summer 2 terms. So instead of 30, you could take 42 credits in the first year, 42 in the second year, that's suddenly 84, and then 36 credits in your third year, and suddenly you have reduced your 4-year degree to under 3 years just by taking those summer courses. Okay, so everybody is able to speed up their degree by taking those summer courses and getting those credits earlier rather than leaving it and just going and sitting on a beach for 3 months. But many of you are coming from year 13 environments in high school where you're studying A levels, international baccalaureate, maturita, abitur, things like this. If you come with your diploma, you get automatically 30 transfer credits. Those 30 transfer credits mean that instead of 120, you're now doing 90 credits. Instead of 4 years, you're now doing 3 years at Hult. That's without doing your summer courses. If you did 42 credits because you do 12 in summer 1, and then you did another summer in, your first year summer, and then you do in the summer 2, that's 84 credits in 2 years. Suddenly, you only need to take 6 credits, and then you finished your degree in just over 2 years. Okay, so your 3-year degree has gone to just a little bit over 2 years. And of course, we also, you can see that 2 years, we have a lot of students who've gone to another university, prestigious universities, and they've realized actually they don't like that university. They don't want to be in a lecture hall with 300 students or 1,000 students, never be able to talk to their professors, just listening to somebody talking constantly for 3 hours, just looking at books with theory and never actually learning how to do. Hult fundamentally is all about relevant education. We want to teach you how to do things by giving you practical projects. And those students from these other universities, they decide they want to come to Hult and they bring their credits from their university and they can actually come down to a 2-year degree, which if they take summer, turns out to be about 1.5 years. Okay, so it's a very flexible degree. depending on where you come from in your educational journey. And then also, if you take your summer courses, you can really speed that up. If we go to the next slide, you'll see that we have a range of majors. You could do a major in business analytics, entrepreneurship, finance, management, and marketing. And you can do minors in computer science, design, and psychology. You can decide to just do a couple of minors in finance and entrepreneurship and not take any major. Or in fact, you don't need to take any major or minor and just choose your electives from all of these different disciplines according to what you find fascinating. You might do disruptive innovation from entrepreneurship and branding from, brand management from the marketing major. You might want to work with some kind of production process and do operations management from the management major, and think about your investment strategies. So you'll do financial markets and institutions from the finance major. All of these options are available. 50% of your program are electives, okay? If you go to the next slide now, you'll also understand I've said that it's a practical education we aim for. We want everyone to learn how to do things. Now, that means not just learning from books. Books are important. You do need to learn theories as well, but a theory is no good if you don't know how to apply it. So one thing that we do is bring challenges into the classroom so that we try to make sure you're always working on a challenge. If possible, with a real client, a company, which will come in and set a challenge that they're currently working on. And then you, with your professor guiding you, will work in teams on solving that challenge. You compete with your other teams in the same way that if you're in business, in consulting or marketing, you have to pitch for business against other companies. Well, you're already getting that experience. So we have, in the first year, you have a startup challenge. A second year, a social impact challenge, where we want you to think not just about profit, but also about people and the planet, the 3 Ps, because you can actually make an enormous impact, positive impact in the world through business. Okay, you don't have to work for a charity to actually make sure that this planet is a better place. When you start in your specializations, you'll be doing challenges related to whichever discipline you choose. And we want everyone to finish off with the Hult Business Challenge, where they can the Hult Business Challenge, where we work with a large company, and the whole project there is you have a mentor and you are working with that mentor on the challenge. So if we go here, you can see some of the companies we've worked with over the last 12 months. Some of them are, as you can see, some very, very recognizable names, such as Shell, Education First, KPMG, Bloomberg, Unilever, Nomura Banks, Salesforce, Deloitte. Some of them are slightly smaller, My Kind of Future, Wavemaker, Issue Fry, Founders Factory, which are startups. And sometimes those smaller companies don't have a big name. They come with really, really great projects because you are able to make such a difference to the way the strategy and the direction that small company makes. So we bring these companies in to run projects in the classroom, to bring speakers, to give you personal experience, and also then to see how they can help you, as you'll hear later from my good colleague Bianca, how they're going to help you also in terms of when you want to look for internships. Have you managed to build that network? Do you understand what it means to work in finance, in marketing, in business analytics? And if you go to the next slide now, you can see for that Hult Business Challenge, these are the companies that we've worked with just over the last 4 or 5 years. These are not small companies. So we just finished a project with Facebook. We last fall, we were with Tata Consumer Products. Tata is the second largest company in India, one of the largest in the world. And Geometry is the design wing of WPP, the largest ad agency in the world. So Tata and Geometry, they're working on a project. They weren't sure which direction to go to. They came to us, and we had about 20 teams of students working on that project and competing together. We worked with the consulting firm Accenture, eBay, McLaren, the Formula One team, Amazon. We helped them build their startup strategy. How can they support startups so that the startups are able to start producing products, which of course Amazon want these startups to sell through the Amazon marketplace. The UBS banking group and Unilever, the largest or one of the largest fast-moving consumer goods companies in the world. These large companies are the type that we want to work with when we do our Hult Business Challenge. So it's a practical experience. We want to work with other companies, but some of you, we know a lot of you, in fact, want to work for yourself. You want to build your own startup. You want to be entrepreneurs. That is why we also have the Hult Founders Lab. And the Hult Founders Lab is a process that starts not for, you can join it even if you don't want to be an entrepreneurship major. You can join the Hult Founders Lab to get mentoring and guidance in how to build this idea that you have and start building it into a viable business plan and creating a minimum viable product. And then you can do it for credit. For a capstone, you can do your Hult Founders Lab where you'll be working with our mentors. They will give you access to investors, so you learn how to pitch, to funding, how to access funding. You'll be going to startup conferences and networking with other startups to see how you can build your idea. And I know a lot of you are very keen on that. Some of you might come from a family business and think, well, it doesn't matter, I'm going to go to the family business. That's great. But maybe one of the best things you can do is actually work, either build your own business before you go back to the family business, or work for another company so you can bring in new ideas back to the family business and start taking the family business to the next level. So that's talking all about the curriculum. If we go to the next slide, all the practical learning that we try to ensure you have. But also we're very conscious that not everybody is able to come to London for a 4-year degree. It is the best city in the world. I encourage you all to come. Boston is the second best city in the world, and I encourage you all to go to study in Boston for a certain period of time. But we do recognize that some of you may not be able to afford 4 years in London studying, or it might be that your parents are just not very keen because maybe you're still only 17. Your parents might not be keen for you to go all the way across, thousands of miles to live in London for 4 years. So we have a process that we call limitless learning. And limitless learning is something which we've managed to develop on the back of the pandemic, because during the pandemic, we didn't just do Zoom classes. What we managed to do is create an environment where we had students physically in the classroom, and some students, because of travel bans or because of personal medical vulnerabilities, couldn't come to campus, and they would be studying from home, but they'd be able to access the same classroom at the same time as the students in the class. And the professor is teaching both the students at home and the students in the classroom at the same time, and engaging them in discussions, in the challenges, in the projects, in the analysis, all at the same time. So this way, you would be able to join the program for 2 years before then coming and joining the campus for the final 2 years of your degree. So you do the final 2 years on campus. So as you can see, this allows you to study from home, but you still get that great Hult experience of working in real live projects. And of course, it saves money because it means you don't have to pay for accommodation in the best city in the world, London. You don't have to pay for all those expensive flights and so on. You're staying at home. You can save money that way, which is important. We completely understand for many families, they do want to be able to save a few thousand every year. And then in those final 2 years, you come to campus and you get the face-to-face experience, because Zoom is an amazing thing, and all the other online tools that we have, but you cannot beat that face-to-face experience to really learn how to get to know each other, to work together, and to see then how you're able to leverage these friends and contacts in the future. I always tell students, if you do it right, you never have to pay for a hotel for the rest of your life, because you will have friends in 136 other countries. When you leave Hult, you'll be able to go to almost any country in the world and phone up a friend and say, hey, I'm coming to town. Do you mind if I come and stay at yours for a couple of days? And we've had students doing this. Trust me, this is a place to come where you meet the world. You don't just meet people from your own town, your own country, or your own language. So this limitless learning means that, as you can see on the diagram, we have cameras at the front of the class which point at the students, and we have a camera at the back of the class which points at the professor. And it follows the professor around as they walk around the room, because they don't just stand still reading from some boring text. They're walking around, they're engaging students. We have screens so that the professor can see the students who are at home. They can see them at the back of the room, and they can talk to them and say, oh, by the way, Calle, what do you think about this branding opportunity? And then they would expect Calle, for example, to answer the question as if they were physically in the classroom. And we have these high-tech microphones which pick up all the sound of the students when they speak in the classroom as well. So it is really as close to being physically in the room as you could be without physically being there. And so in the bottom right hand corner of that slide, you can see students accessing these Zoom classes from home. Limitless learning is what we call it. So we know that it is an opportunity for some people who think that to study 4 years abroad is maybe a little bit much, but maybe they could do 2 years abroad and start the degree at home, doing 1 year, maybe if they come from year 13, or 2 years if they're coming from year 12 at high school, from home through limitless learning. So now we have a video which gives you a little bit of an idea what it looks like to be a student at home and a student in the classroom. I'm hoping my lovely friend Fiorella will now be able to click the button on the video.
Who should present? Should it just be me or should everybody? Why did you tell me?
Thank you very much, Ronan. Okay, everyone, on to a slightly less inspirational topic, the application process at Hult. Still very important, and I'm going to just dance through this like the clumsiest ballet dancer you have ever seen. If you go to hult.edu/apply, you will find our online application. With that, I should mention you can apply to Hult through UCAS or through Common App, but we also have our own application portal where most students apply directly on our website. You started off by filling out an online application. We require just some personal information and knowledge about which high school you went to. At this stage, you will be contacted by one of our enrollment advisors or one of our so-called converters, as we call them, who are there as our admissions specialists. Applying to university overseas can be an overwhelming process at times. That is why we have our own staff around the world in your country or in a region close to you who are there to help you through that process in terms of uploading your CV or letters of recommendation or your transcripts from high school or what it might be. There is someone for you to talk to and to help you through it so that you upload the right documents. Apart from that, you will also have to schedule an interview. And this interview is the most important part of the entire application process. We take great pride in that we actually sit down and talk to every single person who applies to Hult. We are a business school. This is about what you have done in your life and what you want to do, to see what you are passionate about, what you may have done as extracurricular activities, charity work you have done, internships you have done, countries you have lived in. This is about getting to know you beyond your grades. That is necessary in order for us to build the kind of community that we want to have at Hult, to see that you have a fire in your belly and that you're passionate about business and that that is what you want to study. Based on that, you will receive an admissions decision. This whole process, if you upload the documents, don't have to take more than 2 weeks. So it's a very quick process in comparison to some of the bigger institutions. at that point, when you know whether you are accepted or not, we host a lot of events for students, accepted student events. We have done them virtually for the last couple of years like this. Before then, we used to do them on campus where students would fly in. I can't promise that that will happen next year, although I really, really hope so, because it is a wonderful thing to attend, watching accepted students come together and see the campus. This is an opportunity to get to know us closer before you make the decision whether or not you want to confirm your seat to Hult. Once you confirm your seat to Hult, you have secured a seat, exactly what it sounds like. You have to pay a confirmation deposit, but at that point in time, the seat is yours and you are welcome to come to Hult. As I said, this whole process, if you wanted to, don't have to take more than 14 days. If you if you know what you want, and that is what you want. More than anything, I want you to remember there are enrollment advisors in your region, wherever you are in the world. There is someone reasonably locally in a time zone close to you that you can talk to. Okay, Fiorella, thank you. Please give me the next slide, which is on our scholarship and awards. Being an American institution, we have scholarships and awards. Some of you in the audience are very familiar with this. Others may not be, depending on where in the world you grew up. But we believe in rewarding the talent and achievements of ambitious students. All incoming students can apply for a range of merit-based or need-based scholarships and awards that reward your achievements and potential both inside and outside of the classroom. And we have scholarships that range from 5,000 to 15,000 US dollars. All of them will require you to do something to show that you are committed to this process. The merit-based ones is what it sounds like, completely down to merit. You have a range of topics that you can choose to write an essay on, through which you can apply. The awards-based ones are the same. There are a range of different topics. We don't rank them individually, whichever one speaks to you. We have designed them to be different on purpose. Whichever topic speaks to you, you can write an essay about. But when it comes to the need-based awards, we will have you fill out a declaration of finance as well, as it is a matter of needs-based versus merit-based. Your personal financial circumstances come into play here. You can read more about this on hult.edu or talk to your enrollment advisor if you're already in contact with someone in your local region who can walk you through this process. And with that being said, the admin part is over, and I am now going to hand over to something that is much more exciting, and that is Bianca Pavel, who is going to talk to you about what makes Hult's career development and corporate relations strategy so unique. So please, Bianca, take it away.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Calle, and thank you for the lovely introduction. Hello, everyone. It's really great to meet you all. Thank you for joining us on a Saturday, and it is my absolute pleasure to talk to you about career development for the next few minutes. First, I will introduce myself really quickly. I'm Bianca Pavel. I'm the Corporate Relations Manager at the Hult London Undergraduate Campus. I have been at Hult for 4 years now, and I have enjoyed every second of it. My role, in a few words, is to build relationships with really exciting businesses outside of our school to bring really exciting internships and jobs to our students. Before joining Hult, I was a graduate recruiter myself, so I used to interview hundreds of students at the very beginning of their careers, and I was really helping them to find really meaningful jobs. I was also an employer brand consultant after that, and I worked for a social enterprise in London where I was working on behalf of really large companies like Rolls-Royce, Accenture, KPMG, and I was helping them to define and design really exciting campaigns to attract diverse talent to their businesses. And also, I'm a very proud member of the DEIB task force at Hult, which stands for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. And together with my colleagues, we create global campaigns to make Hult students and staff feel more included and at home within Hult. And I welcome and invite all of you to go to Instagram to hult.london.careers to check out what we do in career and corporate relations on a daily basis. You'll find really exciting insights in there about the speakers we work with and the ones that we bring on campus, the jobs and internships that we promote, all the initiatives that we have deployed over the last 2 years. So please take a screenshot of this, go follow us, stay in touch with us, send us any questions. You know, we're really excited to engage with you on that platform as well. So I'm here representing actually a global team of experts. We are in London and in Boston, just like Ronan mentioned. All of us are employability professionals. So we are here to help you succeed in your career journey. And our biggest mission is to boost employability on behalf of our students. Most of us are recruiters. Some of us are also consultants turned advisors. So together we're bringing that practical experience to the program, really helping you to understand how to get started with your career journey and how to succeed along the way. All of us are also very international, representing Hult and Hult students at all levels. I am from Romania myself. My colleagues come from New Zealand, from Spain, from the US and other countries. So we have all lived and worked in different geographies, and we have really great insights about the international job market, which we're now bringing to the table to help you kickstart really successful careers. And of course, we're very glad to facilitate introductions on behalf of you within our global network of employers and alumni. So whichever target you have in mind geographically for after graduation, chances are that we do know people in those markets, and we will be very happy to help you access them and get their knowledge and get them to open some doors for you as well. I wanted to tell you a bit about the support that we offer our students. And for us, our strategy is focused around 4 main pillars. The first pillar consists of digital tools and resources. So this is a sort of self-paced service that we offer. These are resources that sit on our platforms that are accessible at any point throughout your program, which are designed specifically for each year of the program. So whatever you are in your career journey, you can go into our platforms, you can access our resources, and you can go from there. So they are there to offer the foundation and an opportunity for you to self-discover and to really understand where you are and where you need to be next. Then once you've gone through those resources, we invite you into our skill workshops, which is pillar number 2. This is a series of interactive workshops where you can come together with your peers and advisors to really learn from their own experiences as well. We believe that it's very, very powerful for you to understand where other students are in the journey and to really talk about the realities of the career journey and the job search, because it can be challenging at times, and you should have a space where you come together with other students and openly discuss your experience and give each other advice. And of course, you have that supported by the career advisors who are there to help you take the next step in your searches. Then the third pillar is one-to-one advisory, and this is by far one of the most popular options that we have. A lot of our students go straight to their personal career advisor and sit down with them on a one-to-one basis to really unpack their journey and get that very personalized, uniquely tailored advice for themselves. So this is where you will be discussing some of the hurdles you've had or challenges, some of the things that make you really optimistic. You can talk about your strengths, your passions, your mission, and receive that very, very unique advice from the advisors to help you move along to the next phase. And finally, the fourth pillar is something that myself and my team are working on, which is networking. So creating those opportunities for you to meet alumni, employers, and internship providers right on campus, either at our networking events or inside a classroom, so you can get that really exciting advice and inspiration around your career, but also to meet people that you can make connections with and that can open doors for you to really access the opportunities that you're after. And then I wanted to help you visualize what the journey will look like across the 4 years that you spend with us. And if your program is shorter, just like Ronan mentioned before, some of these phases will merge with each other and we can help you on a one-to-one basis uncover exactly how that's going to go. But most of our students will spend 4 years with us, and this is the roadmap that we expect them to embark on. Year one is all about reflection. This is about self exploration. And just like Ronan mentioned, this is one of the most powerful tools you have. When you know yourself really well, you know where you're standing and you can decide on a plan to get to where you would like to be. So in year one, it's all about reflecting, looking at yourself, understanding your strengths, understanding perhaps the gaps in your knowledge or in your skills, and deciding on what steps you're going to take next to get to where you want to be. Then once you've done that, in your second year, you're starting to observe. This is the phase focused around market exploration. This is when we expect you to engage with a lot of alumni, speakers, employers, not only at Hult, but also outside of the campus. Leave the comfort zone and go and engage with different communities, different inspirational speakers that can really help you understand different career paths, what it takes to get there, and what it takes to be successful in a job that you're envisioning you want to do as your first step into your career. And then once you have a really strong understanding of who you are and where you're going, and you've understood what the market is about, in year three, we expect you to start accelerating. And this is where you will be going out there to gain experience. This is when typically you will be doing an internship, but also when you will be creating all the tools that will help you become successful later on. So by tools, I mean your CV, your cover letter, your LinkedIn account, and more to actually move on in your career and stand out in the recruitment processes. And then finally, in year four, you're driving. This is when you've put a lot of hard work in, and this is time to really close the deal, so to speak. So this is when you'll be doing interviews, maybe a second internship if you want to. You'll be speaking to alumni, to employers. You'll be receiving lots of great offers. This is when you're negotiating your salary and overall package and much more. So this is the time to actually kick off in your career as you're heading towards graduation. And this sounds like a pretty big journey ahead, but as you can see in here on the slide, we have plenty of tools to help you navigate through these steps and to help you become successful at every single stage along the journey. So don't worry, we'll be there for you. And then I wanted to show you what happens when the students do follow all of these stages. They put in the hard work. What are the results? So looking at class of 2019, we're very, very glad to see how high the employment or placement rate is, which sits at 99%. So 6 months after graduation, our 2019 cohort were in full employment or they were pursuing a master's degree, which is absolutely fantastic. And then if you're curious to see exactly where they went, 74% of them were in full-time employment, 14% of them were pursuing internships, so they were still trying out different things, 8% were working in their family business, and 4% started their own businesses. Just like Ronan mentioned before, these are really great options for you. So regardless of why you're coming to Hult and what you're looking to gain, as you can see, the program can help you succeed no matter what the target is. And then one of my favorite insights from post-graduation is where our students are. And you can see here that 56% of our graduates are living and working in a country different from the one they came from. And this is really interesting because it's a true testament to how global we are as an organization, and of the fact that this degree will help you land opportunities globally, no matter where you're looking to be and what kind of setting you want to be into. And Ronan mentioned that we work with a lot of businesses. So I wanted to highlight a few of our leading employers from the class of 2019. I'm sure you're already recognizing a few brands in there. Big tech firms like Amazon, Google, Airbnb, and Uber. I guess they need no introduction. We work really closely with some of the recruiters or alumni that work for these businesses, but also to showcase the diversity of interests of our students. You can see in there Bloomberg, which is huge in the financial services sector and financial news, HSBC as well, right up there as a huge bank. Deloitte is one of the top 4 consulting firms in the world. And then you have Estee Lauder and Uniqlo for the beauty and fashion industries, which I also know are really big with our students. And this is just a short selection of employers, but I wanted to just showcase the diversity and show you where you could be as well once you graduate from this program. And then finally, I wanted to bring some student stories to life, because you will be hearing from some students today, but there are many more that have found success out there. So I wanted to bring you some names and some faces here so you can see that this is truly a reality, and hopefully these stories will inspire you as well. So starting with Alaya, who is an intern at Amazon. He did such a fantastic job of applying for this internship, working really closely with his career advisor to get ready for the interviews, got the internship at Amazon, and then the recruiters and the whole team were so inspired by Elia that they actually started messaging other Hult students over LinkedIn to try and get more of our students into the business, which turned into about 5 or 6 offers that happened over the last few years, which is absolutely fantastic. Then Charis on the right side, she graduated from our program in the last few years, and then she went to do a master's in development management at LSE, which is a very prestigious school. And right now she's doing her PhD, so continuing a very successful career in that space. Gabriela is at Havas, which is a huge media company. She actually got this internship directly on campus by coming to our networking events and meeting an alumna that worked there as well. So a few months later, after staying in touch, Gabriela was recruited into the business. Zafar, who is a fantastic networker, he came to many of the events that my team and I have organized in the last few years. He met companies like Accenture and Citibank, and he really prepared for that time when he was going to meet Google, which was his big target. He got an internship at Google, and then he did such a great job that he was offered a graduate position with them as an account strategist. Helena, who is a founder, and she started this really successful business called Club Sleep. She's part of the Whole Founders Lab as well, and she has been receiving mentoring from the club and from the mentors that joined the HFL. And finally, George, who is actually on the call today, and who worked really hard to get his asset management internship with HSBC, which is going to start in a few weeks from now. And if you have any questions about how he did it, please feel free to put them in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. And finally, to highlight one last team, I wanted to talk about DECNA, which is a team of entrepreneurs that worked really hard within the Hult Prize competition. If you haven't heard of Hult Prize, it is a global, international, and annual competition between students from 5,000 universities. It was started 11 years ago by a Hult alumnus, and the mission is that the young minds of the world that are studying business are creating businesses that are not only profitable, but also make social impact, and they solve big world challenges in line with the Sustainable Development Goals highlighted by the United Nations. They work for 9 months to make it to the final and to compete for the prize, which is $1 million. And our lovely students from DECNA made it all the way to the accelerator, which is the pre-final stage. And they were really successful throughout the regional competitions and really wooed the judges with their thinking and their presentation skills. So these are a few success stories from our students and alumni. There are many more out there, but I wanted to give you an insight into what can be achieved throughout this program if you follow the advice of your career advisors and your professors, if you work hard, if you set your targets early, and you don't stop and you use the growth mindset to get to where you want to be. So I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions for me, I will be staying for the Q&A. And now I'm very pleased to pass this over to our student, Olga, who is going to talk to us about student services and extracurricular activities.
Thank you very much, Bianca. Um, I'm really excited to be here with every one of you. I saw like many different cities from all over the world. My name is Olga Babenko. I am currently the second year, will start my third year, my last year, sadly, already in Hult. I'm originally from Ukraine, grew up in Switzerland. And I will speak today, as mentioned, about clubs and societies, but also about HSA, the Hult Student Association. And at the end, I will answer some questions you might have with my friends. I'm the head of student life of the HSA. I'm also the offline marketing manager of TEDx Hult London. I'm the head of operations for the Creative Club, student representative of Your Welcome, that's a mental health organization in the UK, and the member of It Stops With Me, what is a movement in our school that is trying to make awareness for mental health and try to decrease bullying and everything similar. So, to the clubs and societies, one of my favorite things in Hult, to be honest, because like next to studying, we need to have a kind of a balance. So it's really important that you guys also find your passion in other things next to normal courses that you have to take. And currently we have over 30 clubs and societies in Hult. What is amazing, what is a big opportunity for you, and I can promise you that you most probably are going to find the perfect club or society that is actually your hobby, your passion, what you want to do next to your studies. But even if not, I can guarantee you that starting a club is easy and is amazing as well. So I have a lot of friends that are like starting clubs, like they started clubs multiple times already. The only thing you need to have is an idea, passion, and like around 3 board members. You can come up to the third floor to student services to Michelle and ask her, and she will guide you through all the steps you need to do. And after only a few weeks, you will have your club or your society, and you can start having events and trips and whatever you like. And here in Halt, we are dividing clubs and societies in social, creative, and sport. So for example, here in the next slide, you can see one of the professional clubs. On the photo, you see UN. What it was, our students had, like, I think in 2020 they would have the chance to go to Tokyo. Sadly, because of Corona, this didn't happen. But we have many other great clubs and societies in professional view. For example, we have TEDx, we have HMCC, what is the consulting club, what they have like amazing businesses coming with a lot of opportunities for internship and for networking as well. We also have a real estate club, we have finance club, investing club, and so on. The other thing we have are social clubs. On the pictures you can see it's the Chocolate Society, what is actually already like many years a really famous club here. Where you like just chat with each other, you learn about different cultures. They're organizing a lot of fun events in campus, but we also have the creative club, we have the music jam club, we have a theater club in Hult, and many more. And last but not least, sports clubs. We have many different sports, and as I said, you can add whatever you want. We have golf, tennis, rugby, gym, running, yoga. We have nearly everything. And even like, for example, what is really popular is the football club, of course. And our Hult students are actually quite good, and they're playing in leagues with other universities in London. So what you maybe ask yourself right now, how does it work during COVID, or if you do limitless learning and you're sit at home? To be honest, we were a bit worried in the beginning, and we were like, yeah, well, how is this gonna work? And it's not gonna be the same. And we were like so biased about it, but it opened us many doors, and we learned to adapt, and we learned to keep this community going. We learned to make changes and keep our club or our society going. Here on the pictures, you see like some of the events in the beginning of fall semester 2020, where we were still allowed to do some certain events with restrictions, what sadly was not possible in the second semester, but still we were doing events nearly every week. We had a lot of nice speakers coming in, for example, or me as operation managers for the creative club. We had like drawing online and some events like to like calm yourself down, and also for TEDx. Like we were concerned and sad that we could not do a proper event in a hall, but actually we made the first AR TEDx event in the world. We even managed to get into the blog of TED, where like millions of people saw our idea. What was amazing, and we were able to stream it on YouTube. And we had like around 2,000 people watching the TED Talks from all over the world. So without Corona, without the situation, we would have not be able to explore this. And as you see, every challenge comes with an opportunity, and we mastered it. And that's what I love about Hult. We also have like this a lot of like the help of student services and from the deanery and from everyone, what makes it actually happen. And then, as mentioned before, like I'm part of the Hult Student Association, what is basically the middle part from the senior level of Hult and the students. So we are trying to, our motto is to like motivate, inspire, and lead. We have like a critical role in the educational and social experience in the Hult campus, and now like also offline. We try to make a life-changing experience in many ways in Hult. And in the picture, you can see the HSA of last year. We got new elected. So we are 7 people elected from the students. And it is like we have the president, we have head of student life, we have communications, we have academics, sports, clubs and societies, and cohorts, so that everything is nice split, and then we have our work. But in general, we were working together, of course. And our goal is to get involved in campus life and activities, to support our students, to encourage them to do the same, to get the full experience of Hult, and not to be afraid to take everything you can out of this. And we're trying to impact academically and extracurricular student experience in general. We're also planning like the bigger events like winter ball or spring ball, some parties. And we're trying to get all your feedback and to understand the student body better, and then bring it up to the senior level to make sure that you guys actually have the experience you want. Because sometimes it's difficult to see what's going on in the classroom or between the students if you're actually not there. And as a final thing, what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna show you a video how the campus was before COVID, and I'm really hoping that it's gonna look like this soon. And it was nice to talk to you, and I hope to see you soon on campus.
Okay, thank you so much, Olga, for that. Now we've come to the Q&A part of this event, where you get a chance to ask questions of our students. And I highly encourage you to do so. Ronan and myself and Bianca, we've spent most of our careers at Hult. We love this place. That is our biggest strength and our biggest blind spot at the same time. Disrupting education and building a different kind of school is what we do. But in terms of you educating yourself on what your choices should be, no matter what university you apply for, I strongly encourage you to reach out to students who go to those universities. That is why we are here. So Olga has already introduced herself, but I would like Chekou, George, and Cristina to quickly just let us know which year are you in and what do you love most about Hult? George, please go first.
Okay, I'll go first. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. My name is George Ning. I'm a second year student now. I was a first year student last year. Now I'm moving on. Like Bianca mentioned, I'm going to be interning at HSBC Asset Management. And I have to say thank you to Bianca and everybody else in the careers team. They really helped me with that. To be honest, I'm going to be starting in 2 weeks. I'm excited and a little bit nervous, but I'm going to get through it. I guess one of the things I love the most about Hult is that it's a generally nice place, and I'm able to pursue my passion while helping the people around me. Because in the end, the reason that I work so hard is just because I love the students around me. I love my classmates, and I want to give back to them as much as possible. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, George. Cristina, why don't you go next?
Hello, everyone. My name is Cristina. I'm from Honduras, and I'm currently doing my third year at Hult. What I love the most about Hult is how they give you so many opportunities and they incentivize you to push your limits and always try to excel and want to go to the next level. I think that's something that not a lot of universities do, and I think is one of the most important things that Hult does for their students.
Thank you, Cristina. And last but not least, Chekou, please tell us.
My name is Chekou. I'm from Niger. I'm currently finishing up my undergrad degree. I'm going to be moving on to the master's degree this summer. I would say that the thing that I love the most about Holt is the support you get. You constantly feel supported. And I think that George will agree with me that generally when you want to start a project, you tend to be able to reach out to whoever you need to reach out to. It's been very easy in the past for me to speak to, whether it was student services or the deanery. Roland knows about it. Every time we've had a problem or every time we wanted to initiate something, it was just so easy for us. So that I would say that my favorite thing would definitely be the support that you get from that environment.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you so much. We have questions coming in straight away from the audience. I love it. That means that I don't have to keep the conversation going. The first one, before you applied to Hult, did you know for sure that you wanted to study business? Or is that something that you can find out along the way? And I will ask Olga to please answer.
I was not. I started to study psychology in the University of Zurich, actually. And I really disliked the fact that the university was big. I was in classrooms with over 1,000 people from the region, and everyone was similar, and I was not enjoying it. And so I started to look for business schools around the world, and I came to know my enrollment advisor in Switzerland, and she was super nice, and she convinced me directly to like at least check out Hult and go to London to see the school and for the open houses like we're doing right now online. And I fell in love with the school like pretty fast, and it is business is really broad, so it is more about what you're gonna do. Like we have a lot of minors and a lot of networking opportunities that can lead you to different directions at the end anyways. So that's what made me really keen to come here to Hult. It was more the community, the possibility the broadness and the possibility of networking. And now I'm really happy, and I'm definitely gonna continue studying business.
Thank you, Olga. Similar question. Have you always known what you wanted to do in your future? I will assign it if no one volunteers.
I guess I could volunteer. I guess, as you can see, I'm extremely passionate about the financial services industry and asset management. You know, if you show me an Excel sheet or financial statements, my eyes will go wide open. I just love it. But to be honest, when I was applying to Hult, I actually said I wanted to study economics. But one thing I noticed from this whole year was that what you want to do is mainly based on your personality. It's based on what you're passionate about, what you like and what you dislike. And whether it's economics or business, I always notice there's a certain trend for me. For example, I like working with data, I like challenging myself, and I like personal development. And these were some of the things I could get from the financial markets. So whether it was economics or finance, I can get it from both of them. So whether I wanted to know exactly what career path I wanted, maybe not always, but I always knew that there was a certain kind of person that I was, and that was what drove me forward. If that answers the question, I hope.
Thank you so much, George. And I speak to a lot of students, and I can definitely say many students choose business because it's a degree that sets you free. Students are often passionate about something, but they want the business fundamentals to then go and pursue what they happen to be passionate about. But also to touch on what George is saying about practical learning. Practical learning is a gift. If you sit in a library and memorize theory, that doesn't help you figure out what you love. Anything in your life that you truly enjoy, you know that you enjoy it because you do it. So practical learning helps you figure out what it is that you want to do and what you truly enjoy. Thank you so much, Olga and George. Moving on to the next question. Since most of you have gone to Hult from abroad locations, how was it adapting to campus in London? Cristina, would you please answer this question?
Well, for me, family it's very important. So when I came to London at first, it was hard to adapt and being so far away from home, but I was lucky that I was able to find my little family at Holt London. And that helped me a lot to adapt. And one of the benefits that you have as well is that since it's so internationally diverse, you find people from everywhere. So I was able to, whenever I felt a little bit homesick, I went more with Latinos because I'm Latina, and that made me feel a little bit more home. And that's something that I really valued because I know that in other universities, maybe I wouldn't have the opportunity to talk to people that were closer to my house, and that wouldn't have helped me a lot. But for sure, the adaptation process is going to be different for everyone, and some people are going to struggle more than others. And there's a lot of things that you can do to help yourself. For example, I remember that in my room, I would always have pictures of my family, little things from my country that would make me feel more in contact. And well, for sure, having a good communication as well helps with your family.
Thank you so much, Christina. I would add that as well to what Ronan said in the beginning of his presentation. 137 nationalities at the London campus, but no one nationality is more than 8% of the student body. We are all from somewhere else, which means that you will have plenty of people around you to discover London together with who are also there for the first time. And it's something that really helps us with our community building. Next question is from Gali Bustanji. I am sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly.
I think we lost you for a little bit.
I see. Let me do that again. Are there connections with local employers to help you provide opportunities to develop your employability skills?
I guess I can mention two that I know, because within London, I'm also a candidate for SEO London, which is a program which takes people from diverse backgrounds, ethnic minorities, and helps them improve their employability, but also helps them with getting internships. And I'm also a part of the 100 Black Interns program. which also does the same thing, but mainly focus on Black students. And so there are programs out there, as well as employers. At least those are the few that I can know. Perhaps some of my classmates can mention a few of those a few that they know as well.
Thank you, George. Anyone else want to comment on opportunities to collaborate with companies? I mean, no, Bianca talked about it, but in your own experience on the London campus? Yes, Olga, please.
I think the question is a bit broad, but like we have like we're one we're one of the biggest cities in the world, and everything is really like connected. So if you want to meet someone, if you want to collaborate with someone, if you want to have a mentor, it is about reaching out and keep reaching out, and then you will find the person eventually. And with Hult, like Bianca mentioned before, we have really good like networking opportunities. We have events, we have connections, alumni. So you will find your way to find the person you want to collaborate with quite easily, I would say, in London. And as well for like startups, London is one of the cities with the most startups in the world. I even think it's like called the capital of startups or something like this. So also in this sense, people in London are really keen to start new things and to work and to try out. Yeah. If this answers the question, hopefully.
Thank you very much, Olga. Moving on, lots of questions coming in, which is really exciting. Broad question to anyone who can answer. Ronan and Bianca, you might step in as well. Is there an LGBTQ plus community at Hult? And I know that there is a club, but I need someone else to talk more about it in detail, please.
So we have a Hult Pride Society. In fact, on campus now, we are celebrating Pride Month for the whole month of June. So certainly there is an LGBTQ plus community. And this is something that, going back to something Bianca mentioned earlier, I'm also on the DEIB task force. Something that I personally am passionate about, but I'm not unique. This is reflected in across all staff, professors, and students. Most students, is that we are passionate about diversity, equity, inclusivity, and belonging. Now, this doesn't just include people of different races and nationalities. It also is about gender equality, and it's also about gender identity, and it's also about sexuality preferences. We want to make sure that our community is one where everyone feels that they belong, not just that they're okay, but they belong. We all belong together. We have an excellent welfare team as well, because what happens, we are very conscious of this. A lot of students, when you come to university, and it's not just at Hult, everywhere around the world, you come as a young adult, 17, 18 years of age. This is some of the most interesting times emotionally for people to start discovering who they are, not who their parents think they want them to be, but who they are. And sometimes people start to discover things about themselves that they didn't dare to think about in high school. And we have a wonderful welfare team that actually help you as well when you want to talk about issues of your own identity in all its facets. I hope that helps. And I hope the anonymous person asked the question, I hope that helps you.
Thank you very much, Ronan. Next question. I believe Bianca put in a link as well for anyone who wants to read more about this. I don't mean to rush away from the topic. It is something that we absolutely care deeply about. Next question. Have you taken courses in any other campus in any of the different cities? And what was the experience like? I know, Olga, you are in fact at our Dubai campus right now. So maybe you can start, and then anyone else who have also rotated can jump in if you have an experience.
Yes, in fact, right now I'm in Dubai and I'm doing a summer course. I'm currently enrolled in luxury marketing, and it's amazing. You don't only get knowledge about the course itself, you also have a new network. I got to know different professors and their network, as well as students from Boston, because they're rotating to Dubai as well. And also the culture, it's completely different to London. You start to adapt. You are here for a long enough time you actually learn more about the country and the culture than you would ever do in a holiday. And I think it's a great opportunity, and you will never, like, you will not be really keen to get this opportunity again. I don't think that someone will just casually go for 6 weeks to Dubai, or like, it's less common, let's say it like this. So definitely recommend it, and I hope that next summer I can do another rotation.
Thank you very much, Olga. Anyone else who have taken summer courses or rotated a full term to the Boston campus? No?
I haven't rotated. However, I do have friends who've rotated to Dubai. They always send me pictures and videos about their experiences. They look like they're having a wonderful time there. And I'm sure any of you would have it as well if you want to give it a try.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, George, for that. Our next question is, what is your favorite thing about the London campus? Chekou or Cristina? Either of you like to take this one?
What's my favorite thing about the London campus? I think that my favorite thing about the London campus is that it's in London. If I have to be honest, the campus in itself is not anything special for me. I think it gets the job done. I think it's a nice place. I feel good there. However, the thing that I really like about the campus is the seating. Ronan looks offended. Come on.
I'm offended, Chekou. You
are-
forget to mention that this is
I
this
saw your
beautiful
face.
campus is a brewery built in 1847, a historic part of London, just on the edge of the financial district. So if you look at this part over there, that was a brewery. It was then a Johnny Walker whiskey distillery. It was a warehouse. We've had bands like Gorillaz recording and rehearsing there before we bought it, and won a award from the Royal Institute of British Architects for the design of our campus. So we are very proud of our campus, Chekou. We're going to have words next time we see Chekou, but it'll be friendly. Don't worry.
I expected a longer rant.
Oh, no, I'm being polite.
Okay. You're in a good mood. That's cool.
As I mentioned, Ronan and I love our school. It's good to get balanced answers. Does anyone else, Olga or George or Cristina, want to weigh in? Your favorite thing about the London campus?
I guess I'm going to take a different route. My favorite thing about the London campus is simply the people, because the people make the place. That's all I can say.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, over to an interesting question about online reviews about Hult. And is it true that students in Hult cheat during their tests, are not passionate about studying, or that faculties in Hult do not have a statement of purpose for student affairs yet? This is what I read in reviews online. I really like Hult, and I don't know what to believe. So I leave it open to anyone, not Ronan, to answer this question.
I'm happy to take that one. Ronan, you look worried.
I'm actually writing a little text answer as well, Chekou, but I'll let you answer that. One thing I can say, unfortunately, I will add one tiny little bit. Unfortunately, I do know, because I've looked into it, some of the reviews are written by people who didn't get into Hult or were dismissed from Hult for cheating. And that's the problem, that there's very little we can do. And you'll find that every university in the world has a problem with some students cheating. That's all. But please, Chekou, over to you and your experience.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I wanted to say. I think in every school you have people who try to cheat. I think in every school you have people who try to, take shortcuts, and you have people who are not really passionate about what they're studying, and they just happen to be there because they have to. I think you have a certain degree of that everywhere, and I wouldn't think that there is more of that at all. I think that a lot of people are extremely passionate. We have examples of that right now. George, Olga, Cristina, all very passionate, been involved, both within and outside academics. So yeah, there are certainly people who try to cheat, but there are people who try to cheat everywhere.
If I could say one thing, though, is that when I think about studying, for me, I think the clubs and societies, doing internships, starting your business is a part of studying. So when you say studying, and I think I see a lot of students who are extremely passionate about their businesses. They're passionate about getting an internship in a certain company or running their clubs and societies. And so to me, that is taking their studies seriously.
And what I wanted to add is that Hult takes it actually really serious. Like people who are cheating, they are either dismissed from school or they get the honor code violation, or they just lose respect from all the important teachers and faculty members we have. And after this, I wish the person good luck with continuing their studies or their professional career, because that is going to be hard. So all the assignments that we're submitting, it's going to go through a plagiarism system. All the tests that we are, like all the quizzes that we have in class, we have enough distance. We even have the block shield on our laptop so that we cannot look into other laptops. So it is taken serious, in fact.
Thank you so much, Olga. I hope this answered the question, but this is excellent. This is exactly why you attend a virtual open house, to educate yourself on what's real. And no better person to answer these questions than our students. I personally believe that if you are intrigued by Hult because it is super international, because it's practical learning, because it's in the setting that it is with classes that is just 50 students to a teacher, and that professor has experience from the industry, that is the same reason we all love Hult. You will have something, and we are very good, I believe, at bringing students together who have this foundation in common, who are passionate about these things. And apart from that, we are as different as can be. So it is what George keeps returning to, the community that we managed to build at Hult, I believe is unique. So I keep repeating, whenever you read something online, please go and talk to a student. We will be so happy to put you in contact with a Hult student who is actually on campus, who can tell you what it is like. I hope this answers the question. Next question comes from Vinod. What extracurricular activities are there in the London campus? We've talked about the clubs and societies already, but please, anyone who wants to jump in.
Well,
In London, well, you can think, okay. Well, in London campus, we have several clubs and societies that are academic clubs, social clubs, and sports clubs, which all of those are extracurricular activities. And each of those, they have a load of work. It depends on what you want to do, and depending on the club you join, if you like it, it will depend if it is a burden for you or you enjoy the work. But for sure, it's going to be something extra from your academic curriculum.
If I can mention some of the clubs and societies I know, because I'm a part of a few. So in my first year, I started the Trading and Investing Society because, like I mentioned, I'm extremely passionate about the financial markets. And I started it because I wanted to bring students together to learn more about the financial markets and help each other in our careers within the finance industry. I'm also a part of the African Business and Cultural Society, which Chekou, who's on the line, is the leader of that society, an amazing leader, great partner. I'm happy to work with him. But there are also other societies and clubs apart from clubs and societies. So just for example, there's the Global Ambassador Program, where I'm the lead on that program. I'm also a blog ambassador on that program. So I could definitely answer questions about that if you have any more questions about that. And there are other ways that you can engage at Hult as well. So for example, I'm a community leader and I'm reaching out to other students, or I'm a buddy if. So starting next year, in September, I'll be sort of helping students get acquainted with the area, acquainted with the London campus. And those are some of the roles that you can play at Hult. There could be way more, to be honest, and I can't name them all at once, but those are a few.
Thank you so much. Last question that we have time for. What is the typical class size at Hult? What's the student class size on average? From memory, it's about 40 to 50 students. Our biggest classroom takes 70 students. Ronan, would you agree that that is correct?
Yes, so on the London campus, we have 10 classrooms. The largest is 78 There's only one of them. The next is 68. There's only one of them. The next is 53. And then the other 7 are 40 to 45 students. So the average size of classes throughout the campus is about 37 students per class. So there are some core classes that you will take, like global strategy or business, navigating the business environment, and those classes will take you into a classroom of 78, maybe 68. But then 50% of your courses are electives, and most electives will take place in smaller classes where you would have 30, 35 people there. So as I say, the average class size is 37 across all the courses that you're taking.
Thank you so much, Ronan. That was the last question that we have time for. I know there was there were a few more that we didn't have time for. If you are still curious, please reach out to your local enrollment advisor or someone in your region who can answer the question themselves or put you in contact with a student from your own country or someone who is studying on campus right now, or any one of us who is on this call. We will be happy to answer. I am so incredibly grateful that you all took the time, both you in the audience, are amazing students, and Ronan, Bianca, Olga, thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to be with us and talk about Hult. Really hope to see you all back on campus very, very soon. Have a lovely summer, everyone. And thank you, last but not least, to Fiorella, who ran this lovely event behind the scenes. None of you got to see her, but she was absolutely amazing. So with that being said, thank you, everyone. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. And I hope the sun is shining wherever you are at.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.